not to put too fine a point on it. How do we not this up? Kind of freaking me out. It's like little hands down there. It's weird. Good morning. It is April 7th. Why is it snowing? I am not running, as you can tell. I'm actually just going for a walk. Gonna go get a coffee. Not gonna run today. We'll get to that. If you're new here, my name is Ben, and if you couldn't tell, this is clearly a sub 3-hour marathon training channel. That's what we're going after. So if you want to see somebody put in the work and try to do a sub 3-hour marathon, you're in the right place. Let's start off with a recap of last week. On Monday, I went out for my long run. I was aiming for around maybe 34K, but I had one of those runs where runners will euphemistically call tummy trouble happened. That necessitated a bathroom break about 14K into the run. So I stopped at home and then I went back out again and I decided to take it a lot easier. But I only made it another 4K before I started feeling pretty dizzy. And I just stopped, found some steps and sat down for a good 5 minutes. Decided to just call it there. Not a good sign. That kind of thing doesn't happen to me. So I just very slowly jogged it back home, ended on 22K for the day. Now, as it turns out, I had already booked a doctor's appointment to get some blood work done. So good timing there. We'll see what the results of that are. I was kind of hoping for something simple and fixable, like, hey, low iron. So, take some iron supplements. The rest of the week actually went okay, I guess. I took Tuesday off as usual. Wednesday was strength work and an easy run. We're back again. This weekend I have a 10K race, and that was going to be my video for this week. And I was really looking forward to it. But we got an email from the event organizer saying that they had to rejig the course a little bit because there's still some ice. And they changed the course to make it shorter. And they made it a 9.5K instead of a 10K. And it's just really bumming me out because I was looking forward to this. I didn't want to do my strength work today. I'm going to. I'm about to do it. Didn't really want to go running. I'm going to. I'll do it right after this. But I felt it was important to capture that this is how I feel at this point in training. I kind of just don't really want to be doing it. Now I'm going to do it anyway, because I'm going to try to stay consistent. But as far as documenting the journey goes, yeah, some days don't want to do it. Oh, here's something fun though. Ooh, toe socks. It's my first time ever wearing toe socks. Unlike Stu, I don't know if I'm sold on the toe socks yet. Kind of freaking me out. It's like little hands down there. It's weird. All right, it's like mid to late afternoon at this point. I'm going to be doing this stuff super late. I've been procrastinating way too much, so I am finally going to get it done. And I'm going to try my best to just be at peace with the race this weekend not being what I wanted it to be. Because ultimately, it is not an A race. It was just going to be kind of a confidence builder. I wanted to do a 10K without going all out and just see how a 10K at this stage of training in nice weather, how that looks compared to the 10K I did at the start of the block. And it's not really going to be that anymore, but that's okay. Like, it's really not that important. That's not what this training block is about. So just need to let it go. If I let it get to me, then it really is a negative thing, and I can control that. I can't control the fact that the race has been changed, but I can control how I react to that. Gonna turn this around. Okay. Thanks for listening to me ramble. See ya. Thursday was my run club, and the prescribed workout there was actually a really good fit. It was 400 on, 400 off, repeating 20 times in total, 20 times 400. And I did the ons at a little under 4 minutes per kilometer, so a little under my target 10K pace. And then the offs at about 4:30, which is quite a bit faster than I would usually do that sort of thing. Usually I would Aim for something more like 3:30 for the ons, and then like 5 minutes or slower for the offs. So like a lot more extreme. This was a lot more sort of like a narrower pace range, and it averaged out to sub 3 hour marathon pace, which is pretty cool. And it didn't exert me too much. So that was great. Also, I was practicing 10K pace for my 10K race, which I did on the weekend. So let's cut to that. Oh, we going. All right, good morning. It is Saturday, April 4th. I'm on my way to a race. I managed to find a race in April, early April, in Ottawa, or close to it. I'm going to Arnprior. It's about a half-hour drive. I'm going to run a 10K. At least, that was the plan. So, one of the lessons that I'm going to take from this is to control the controllables. On my marathon race day, there's going to be stuff that's outside of my control. And I just got to deal with it. Got to roll with the punches. Put in a good effort, have fun, stick to my pacing plan. I can still do all those things. So, let's go do all those things. Okay, here we are in sunny Arnprior. It's quite a bit colder than I was expecting. It's supposed to be about 5 degrees. Let me tell you, oh, it's chilly. Oh yeah, this is called the Bunny Run. We're starting here-ish. Oh, good golly. Well, maybe this is going to have more in common with a Run Faster Freeze race than I thought.
Mark! Get set!
All right, time for another race recap. As we start off here, there are 4 people ahead of me. And within the first half of a kilometer, the 2 at the front would be well off on their own, and the other 2 would disappear completely behind me. I didn't run with anybody in this race, and that's pretty much what I expected. The story of this race is effort. Now, I had to cut out some of my ramblings from earlier. Yes, believe it or not, what I left in was the short version, but I'll say for now, my goal for this race was sub 40 minutes, and my hope was that this would be well within my capabilities, and thus the first 8K, I would restrain myself. Then if things were going well with 2 kilometers to go, I could let myself off the leash. Now I did stick to the first part of that plan. I did the first kilometer in something like 4:02, and the second kilometer in 4:01, very restrained. Unfortunately, my heart rate was already over 180 BPM by this point, so I knew it was not going to be the cruisy race that I hoped it would. In the third kilometer, we faced down a pretty decent headwind, and I remember really pushing to get through that section, and when I did, my immediate thought was, uh-oh, that felt like a lot of matches to burn this early. Turns out I did a 3:54 for that third kilometer into the wind, and that would prove to be a pretty unwise decision. I did pull back a little bit in the next kilometer. There was a bit of an incline, and I was able to kind of balance out the pacing with a 4:07 kilometer. And I know I talk about like headwinds and inclines, but like running outside, these things do happen. Like I think I'm showing a little bit too much of my treadmill training to expect like perfectly flat, no wind courses. Like any amount of wind should be expected. It's just the reality of running outside. Anyway, I was able to pick things up a bit again after that, and I clocked in the halfway mark at 19:59. So like chef's kiss, mwah, perfect, exactly what I wanted. And that was one of the few positives from this race, actually. It was good pacing up till that point. And just a few years ago, a sub 25K was like an all-out effort for me. It would have been a huge accomplishment. And today it was just fine. It was not really that big a problem. Overall, though, I would say I was working way too hard for this pace for a 10K race. Now, around this point, we started to meet up with other runners. There was also a 5K and a 2K happening, so the courses kind of converged at this point. And that meant there was a bit of dodging and weaving to go around. It wasn't really a factor, to be perfectly honest. I was slowing down at this point, but it was because I was tired. It wasn't really because of other people. Here's an interesting thing that happened. At around 8K, the 10K runners were directed to do a lap of the track.
All right.
But oddly enough, I don't think the two guys that were ahead of me got directed to do this. So I think they didn't run the entire course. This is based on me snooping Strava afterwards. But it was just a very weird thing to have happen late in a race where there was just one volunteer who was like frantically trying to talk to everybody who was running at him and direct them in different ways. Here's the 9K sign for the race, which, I mean, they told us that the race was going to be a bit short. But even still, this 9K sign, I looked at my watch, and I'm pretty sure it said something like 8.6 kilometers. And worse than that, the finish line was like almost within sight. Like there was no way there was an extra kilometer to go. So I crossed the line, coming down the hill here, crossing the line with an official time of 36 minutes and 37 seconds, which would be an absolutely monumental 10K PR for me. But this was only about 9.2 kilometers, so it ended up being pretty lackluster, to be perfectly honest. The course organizers suggested that if you wanted a true 10K time, just keep running past the end of the finish line. So that's what I did. I decided to just keep running. And I ran down and started doing some laps back and forth on the pavement just down by the beach there. And I gave it my best at that point, and I think my final kilometer was something like 3:53. But overall, my time ended up being 40 minutes and 19 seconds. Honestly, not the results I wanted, but hey, I can't fault the effort here. This was almost 40 straight minutes where my heart rate was over 180 BPM. So, like, huge effort for me. I mean, gotta be happy with that.
Okay, back to me in my winter wonderland. My winter wonderland of Maranoia. Just like real paranoia, experiencing Maranoia does not preclude there actually being something wrong. So, I'm being careful. I took a full day of rest before the 10K race, and then I took the next 2 days completely off. So 3 out of 4 days, no running. Today would be the 5th day, and I was going to go for a run, but I'm not going to. I don't think the benefits of, fitting in an easy 5K matter as much as getting another complete day of rest. I've been working on my sleep and my HRV, and it is only now starting to nose back up. Finally saw something other than strained from Garmin, which was a nice change. So I would like to give that a chance to actually recover. I think one of the causes of Maranoia is the extra time you find yourself with when you're not running as much. This, I think, is where the value of a coach would really show itself. Because I'm finding myself needing extra rest, and I'm heading into what should be my taper. But I need the rest now. So I'm going to take the rest now. It was a little painful to see the Strava mileage last week hit something like 66. And I think this week is probably going to have to be, honestly, something kind of similar. And then after that, it's taper. So, volume's not going to go up either. And it kind of hurts to have all that work kind of finish with a bit of a whimper. But there's no alternative. There's consistency, and then there's straight up ignoring signs from your body and data like your Garmin HRV or lab work from your blood tests. So I've been overdoing it a bit, at least a bit, and I need to take it easier. 26 days, It's not a lot of time, but it's not no time. Am I totally cooked? Maybe I'm a bit overcooked. I mean, I can recover from this. It may not be the ideal, build and peak at the right time. Might have overdone it, and the peaking isn't going to quite happen the way it should. That's where we are. These are my feelings, my ramblings. 4 weeks out from my marathon. All right, let's try to wrestle these thoughts into some sort of order. I'm feeling frustrated because the races that I've been trying to do, that I'm hoping would be confidence boosters, are not producing the results that I want. And certainly not with the level of effort that I want. Because I think these are realistic goals, but still I'm not meeting them. The next thing that's frustrating me is the signs that I'm overtraining. In essence, you feel like you could be doing less work and be in a better spot, be in better shape. Very frustrating. But let's look at some of the positives here. I was always going to push until my body pushed back. So the fact that I'm hitting something like feeling fatigued and overtrained, I could easily have been stopped by something like a stress reaction instead, or a stress fracture, or any other number of injuries. And so far, injury-free. Maybe that's the strength training. Maybe I am listening to my body at least a little bit. Could be a lot worse. I am feeling a little bit better about things. Nothing a good walk and a coffee can't fix. Feeling a little bit better. All right, 4 weeks left. How do we stick the landing? How do we, not to put too fine a point on it, how do we not this up? Stay calm. Nobody panic. Don't panic. Well, let's flip that question on its head. How would we this up? We'd get obsessed with the idea of putting in a peak week before the taper. We would ignore the signs from my body, from my watch, from lab tests, and instead just blindly pursue consistency. We'd get fixated on time goals. So I'd get really bummed that not being able to run sub 40 this past weekend is indicative that I really don't have a sub 3 marathon in my legs right now. I mean, there's lots of ways you could mess up from here, but I think most of them involve just trying to do too much, trying to fit in too much. And that's kind of been the story of any downsides that I've had this training block, which, let's be clear, overall this training block has been pretty dang great. It really has. And any downsides that I've experienced have come from trying to do too much. So 4 weeks left. Gonna fit in 1 or maybe 2 more good sessions, and then a controlled taper, a thoughtful taper, reducing the volume, keeping the intensity where it makes sense, but reducing the volume. And then go into planning race day logistics, doing a carb load, doing dress rehearsal, all the normal stuff in that last week. It's not so bad. If I had lost a week or 2 to injury, I'd be in pretty much the same spot. So to lose a week or 2 to fatigue, hey, it's just a different kind of injury, really. When I said I was going to be using this channel to record my journey, I really did mean it. It wasn't just going to be training vlogs and races. Be some real thoughts about how I feel along the way here. Even if I never put any of this in the vlog, even if I just edit it all down, it's been pretty therapeutic. Just getting out for a walk, getting my thoughts down. All right, that's it for this week. Catch you next week.